Boy, do we work with some smart people. Some of these buyers and sellers we meet in the marketplace over a long period of time and through different cycles. We're going to share some of their secrets with you of what they do to enjoy the top of the market when buying and selling.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 1651, Secrets to Selling at the Top of the Market. Every property owner's wet dream to say they sold at the top, buying at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's what everyone tries to do. But I think what we see from the most successful people, the story is never, I picked the peak to the day, sold at top dollar, 3 days later, dropped down to this, how good am I? Or I saw a family going under, bought their property dirt cheap, how good am I? They're not if you a fight fan, the tale of the sale or the story of it, the build-up of the most successful people that we deal with, where we're quite fortunate to hear their stories, how they made their money. And that's not normally the story, is it, Mark?
And we're going to share them today. No, it's not. It's not at all. Have you got your studio lights on?
Nope.
I thought you looked different. So, yeah, it's really interesting because, and look, we're very transactional. We've been around a long time. We've got the biggest, one of the biggest portfolio of investors in the country and in Sydney with the amount of properties we manage under one roof. So we meet lots of interesting cats. I think something that I really wanted to point out first of all was if you regard and I was talking about those levels this morning, Michael. If you go like if you say Capital Growth is a 20-story building, we all want to get in at level 1 and we all want to get out at level 20. Right? That's just we all want that. But what I'm always amazed with, that if people get in at level 1, they go to level 20, the market comes down and they come back down to level 17. All people can remember is that they could have sold at 20 and now they're only selling at 17. And I'm saying, hang on a sec, you've enjoyed 17 levels of capital growth. You've made so much money out of your property. And they go, yeah, but I could have sold it at level 20 for more money.
I got a val a year ago for 1.5. You're now saying it's 1.3. Oh,
yeah.
And they stay like that.
Yeah. And you're like, well, guys, hang on a second. What am I missing? You bought it for, an example, 500,000, and now I know, you thought it was 2 million and now it's 1.8, but you've made so much money out of it. And people going, yeah, no, I'm not going to sell it. And you're like,
yeah.
But what were you going to do with your money originally? Well, I was going to go and do this or do that or do this. Well, whether you had 1.5 in your pocket or whether you had 1.3 in your pocket over that capital growth, doesn't matter. You can still do what you want to do. Yeah, I can, but no. So
yeah, and I suppose the flip side to that makes it just that little bit like where sort of the emotion for us comes out of it, because they're selling that to say they're upgrading their home. Like a lot of the time, that comment comes from people who they may need an extra bedroom because the family's gotten bigger, but they hold on to that pricing, and it's like you've done so well. Yes, it's come back a little bit. You like. The famous saying is you only know you're at the top of the market when it starts going down and then you've missed it. Or the same with buying the bottom. You know you're at the bottom when it starts going up and you hadn't bought. So I think a lot of property owners need to look at
the pains in that moment. The pain is so much more relevant than the gain in that moment.
Oh, and that moment can last for years. I've had owners like, back in the day, I had this price. And it's like, that was 2-3 years ago. And what you're buying the same thing has happened. That's where I think a lot of property people and the really smart ones, they don't get caught up on that. They sort of look at the bigger picture. We're transitioning to a bigger home. We sell for less. We buy for less. works out better in the wash, or it's just we're wanting a different asset class. Let's just buy and sell in the same market. So like, because it's people love to be like, I sold for more, but then if no one really tells them, well, you also paid an extra 10% on that house you upgraded to. So if you sold when your unit was 100 grand less, you would have bought that house for 300 grand less. You actually would have been better off. So I think this message, like that scenario we're saying, especially for people upgrading, it's like you almost want the market to be worse. You don't want to get caught up on it.
That's point number two. That's a big one. Can you explain that?
So everyone always looks at one side of the property transaction and not their net position. So
I love this.
So if you're buying a unit for $1 million let's say you've owned a unit, it's now worth $1 million. In the peak market, you could have sold for 1.3. You're kicking yourself. You're selling for 300 grand less. What a lot of people don't look at is the home you're upgrading to. Let's say when your unit was worth 1.3, that house was worth 2.5. Now your unit has gone down to $1 million. That house for 2.5 has gone down to, say, 1.8 million. You are in a better position selling for less and buying for less. It's very rare that the unit market goes down and the house market goes up. They're very much in sync majority of the time. So it's a very true sort of reasoning. But a lot of people get caught up on, I'm not selling this for the best price. And I suppose a lot of the time, owners can get, and you don't even know where they got that 1.3 from. A lot of time we come across owners who never were even on the market. They just got a valuation, or the neighbor said they'll pay 1.3. It was never even a real figure, but in their mind, they get caught up into it.
Can I put a pretty bow on what you just said? After all the scenario you gave, the mortgage that you're taking on for 30 years is less than the mortgage you would have taken on for 30 years. Think about that. And I want everyone to have a real good think about that, because you've taken a hit on your sale, but the person that's taken a hit on your purchase, the vendor, the mortgage you're taking on is going to be a lot less than in a pumping, thriving market. In a pumping, thriving market, you're going to get your 300K more, but you're going to pay on top of what you're regularly going to pay an extra 700 more. So your take on mortgage is going to be a couple $100 grand more. The gap, the changeover is going to be bigger, and you're going to hold that for 30 years. So in a shit property market, it is better to do an upgrade.
Now think of this, which no one ever takes into consideration. How, like we just say the price there on a good market, the home is 2.5. How many times do we hear in a good market how stressful the buying process is? How many contracts buyers get reviewed and missed out? How many times they make an offer and someone else comes up over the top? How
it's almost violent.
While they're paying building and pest, contract review, they're spending thousands of dollars on properties they never end up buying, compared to a process where they're on the market for 1, 2, 3 months, less activity. You can make an offer at the guide and make it accepted, maybe less, rather than going, they're guiding 1.8. 3 days later, it's 2.2. Holy shit. Like my broker can't even get pre-approval fast enough. This sucks. Like no one even takes that into consideration.
So the secrets to selling at the top of the property market, in summary, from what we've spoken about this morning, what are they? I guess one, from where we start off at the beginning, one, it's don't worry if you're getting into the capital growth building, which is a 20-story building at level 1. If you're getting out at level 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you're good. It doesn't matter if it goes to level 20 to level 17, or you've still done 15 levels of travel. I reckon that's probably the number one thing. Look at the big picture.
I think the biggest thing is not to look at it like selling at the top, and look at your net position. Look at both sides of the transactions, and upgrading in a bad market is the time. Like we should be thinking, people instead of thinking, I want to sell at the top, if they're upgrading, should be like, I'm waiting for the bad market. Like that should be the sort of the mindset because you're in a better position.
When's a bad market going to be now, in your opinion? From what you're seeing in the world,
Yeah.
are we
So
there? Are we in a bad market? Is it going to be in 18 months, 20 months time? It's coming, but is it 10 years away or is it on our doorstep? I don't know. Tell me, what do you think?
I think if you're trying to look at a bad market as in saying not the easiest buying conditions for that sort of buyer, that's when you start to see days on market go out plus 30 days, when auction clearance rates come down. Like, rather than getting so caught up on the price, especially these people who are living in the properties, like they should be thinking more about what the family needs rather than getting caught up, I sold at the best or best time. It's doing the transaction in the same market will insulate you from any sort of wrong decision. The only horror stories you see is people trying to bet against the market. Like we saw it pre-COVID, a couple of people try to sell a townhome thinking the market would drop, and then they can't even buy a 2-bedroom unit because the market went up. It's like you tried to beat the system, sell at the top, and you got stung. We never hear people, and that's the secret to selling at the top. There really is no selling at the top.
I think if you're trying to work, and I think if you're trying to work out a bad market, it's when signboards are going up and is sitting around a long time in your area, and maybe even changing agencies. But when it's a good market, signboards up, bang, it's sold goes on it. That's a real hot market. That's probably, I guess, the day-to-day barometer for people, I would suggest.
Yeah, and it's like, bad market, but for who? I suppose agents, sellers. But if those sellers are upgrading, it's a great market. If they're downsizing, so it's who's calling it the bad market. Obviously, agents are working harder; they're not selling as quick. Instead of just opening the door and having 10 offers, we've got one, if that. So we
find in tough real estate markets, our particular agency and our particular agents thrive. Because before you just because what would happen in a pumping market, agent selection is not important. Anything sells and everything sells. You don't know if you've got a great price or a fantastic price. It just sells. It doesn't relevant to your agent. Whereas in a tougher market, it just doesn't sell, and that's when you need. So I find that people that are selling really take time in agent selection when it's a tougher market, where we do well because of everything, products and services we offer and experience. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it covers it.
Yep,
it's good.
Michael Berger, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a lovely day, everyone. That is secrets to selling at the top of the property market. Love you. See you. Bye.